The biggest news in the world is that you can write a tweet and say green technology such as advanced nuclear power. You can write that sentence in a tweet in public, green technology such as advanced nuclear power, and people will just read it and go, yeah, that sounds about right. Do you know how big a deal that is? Inevitably, you're going to see these big companies building homes. Because if a big company such as an Apple or a Google could build a home, and the only catch, let's say it's free. They'll build you a home and it doesn't even cost you anything. It's just free. And the only catch is that all of the services that support the home have to be bought from them. A bipartisan, and that the bipartisan part is important, energy package just got attached to the omnibus spending bill. So omnibus means it's a big comprehensive spending bill, and they attach to it this little energy package that has provisions to boost, and here's the fun part, I'm just quoting from this tweet, to boost green technologies such as advanced nuclear power. So with no caveats, people are talking about green technology being advanced nuclear power. So the administration is putting this in the bill. It'll probably get passed. And they're also looking at energy storage and carbon capture. Now, if you read my book, Loser Think, you know that carbon capture is a big deal. And there are a whole bunch of ways to do it where you can turn it into products and goods. So you don't just capture it and bury it. You can capture it and use it in a variety of ways. So it feels as though the Trump administration, assuming Trump is still there to sign off on this thing, was doing maybe some good stuff on advanced nuclear power, at least funding the research, and maybe Biden will do more of it. But it looks like, here's the biggest news in the world. The biggest news in the world is that you can write a tweet and say green technology such as advanced nuclear power. You can write that sentence in a tweet in public, green technology such as advanced nuclear power, and people will just read it and go, yeah, that sounds about right. Do you know how big a deal that is? That's the bigger deal than anything in the news today. You know, even if our elections were stolen and I don't know, this is like the biggest deal in the world. Because the climate change, Green New Deal thing, even if you don't think it's exactly as scary as the proponents of that view do, you'd have to admit it's a gigantic issue. Whatever you think of it, it's gigantic. It's going to determine the fate of the earth, etc. And now the biggest problem looks like it's solved. The biggest problem was psychological. Simply understanding that advanced nuclear energy was a green technology, and what else? It's a green nuclear technology and the only technology that a lot of smart people say could do anything about climate change in the long run, because the other technologies have their hiccups and problems and limitations. It's a big deal. So Amazon, turns out they bought a startup with a self-driving car. I don't know why Amazon's getting into the self-driving car business, but I'm sure it's strategically smart because they tend to be. And this one's different because it won't have steering wheels and it won't have any way for a human being to control it. It'll just be a pure self-driving car. So if it goes where it's not supposed to be, you can't take the steering wheel. And it would be like a taxi. The company name is Zoox, Z-O-O-X. And here's what's interesting about this. If you told me that Amazon should stay out of the hardware business, I would have said yes about that. I would have said, yeah, Amazon, stick to your selling stuff online. You're pretty good at that. But then they invented their digital assistant, the Alexa, that I won't say out loud because I have them in the house. That piece of hardware impresses me every single day. It is sensational, compared to, let's say, SIRI on your phone, that's just sort of I don't know, a novelty or a toy. But Amazon's version of the digital assistant, and maybe Google's too, I haven't used that, but Amazon's version is really, really good. So much so it's like having a Star Trek computer in your home. I talk to it all day long. I order things through it. It's transformational. So if you tell me that Amazon isn't the right company to make a self-driving car, I say to you, they might be. They might be. I mean, I wouldn't bet against them after seeing the Alexa. And maybe their play here is that if the car is self-driving, you need to do something while the car is moving. And what are you going to do while the car is doing its thing? Well, you're going to read, right? You're going to look at some content. You're going to watch a movie. Maybe you get it from Amazon. So there's probably some way for them to tie this car to their service. And this is why I predict that inevitably you're going to see these big companies building homes. Because if a big company such as an Apple or a Google could build a home, and the only catch, let's say it's free. They'll build you a home and it doesn't even cost you anything. It's just free. And the only catch is that all of the services that support the home have to be bought from them. So you'd have to get your energy from them, your Wi-Fi, your insurance maybe. So you just have to get all your services from whoever gave you the shell of a home, and then they could give it to you for free. And I think that might be what's happening with this taxi thing.